Hello, my name is Dr. Ali Baumgartner and I am the Paleontology Collections Manager here at the Sternberg Museum of Natural History. And today I'm going to be time traveling with you and telling you about one of my favorite fossil sites. So today I'm going to be talking about Minium Quarry. So a little bit about the history of the discovery of the site and then a little bit about what we have learned from the site. So in 1982, Robert Minium found a weird bone on his parents' property. His friend Charlotte Keith thought it was really cool, thought it looked like a rhinoceros tooth, and contacted Mike Nelson, a geologist here at Fort Hays State University. Mike Nelson thought it was really neat and passed that information along to Dr. Joe Thomason, who, now retired, was the curator of botany and paleobotany. So Dr. Thomason got in contact with the Minium family, Pete and Doris Minium, got in contact with them and brought a team out to the Minium property to see if there were any other bones, because the Miniums had said there were a lot. And they were amazed with what they saw. One of the accounts from that first prospecting trip says that there were femurs jutting out of the hillside. So when they looked around, they saw all of these bones that were clearly not cows that were supposed to be in that pasture, but rhinos that haven't been in North America for a while. And Dr. Thomason, being a paleobotanist, also noticed when he looked more closely that there were also fossil seeds surrounding some of the bones that they saw. So in 1985 and 1986, the National Geographic Society funded a grant to pay for the excavation at the site. They uncovered lots of fossils, both of plants and animals. The Minium family deeded the land to Fort Hays State University, where we actually continue to excavate there, and every year we take some of our Sternberg camp students there to learn how to excavate a really, really cool fossil site. So as I said, there are both plants and animals known from this site. I'm going to talk about the animals first though, since they kind of are how we found out about it in the first place. So the first bone that Robert brought to his friend Charlotte was a rhino tooth. So this is a rhino molar. As you can see, it is that's really large and is not going to be easily mistaken for, say, a cow, which was supposed to be in that pasture. So this is a rhino molar. This is a rhino incisor. So again, nothing that we are going to mistake for anything modern. So rhinos are actually probably the most common fossil that we find at what we now call Minium Quarry. We got lots and lots and lots of rhino bits. In addition to rhino bits, we also have things like horses. So as you can tell, this is the toe of a horse. They've basically looked like this for a long time. So Minium Quarry is a late Miocene site. So it's about 8 or 9 million years old. So at this point, horses kind of look like horses. We also have much smaller things. So this teeny bone in a jar, this is actually a bone from a mole. So we're finding things all the way from huge rhinos to moles that were burrowing through the ground. We also have little bits of amphibians. So this is a bone from a fossil frog. So itty bitty bone right there from a fossil frog. And then this is a bird bone from what is probably related to a grebe today. So yeah, we find all sorts of stuff. But some of my favorite, this might not look like much, but this is a chunk of a turtle shell, a tortoise shell specifically. And you can see that it's pretty thick. It's pretty big. So this is from Geochelone, which is a large tortoise, and it can actually tell us a whole lot about the site. So a lot of animals, because they can move so much, they aren't really helpful for paleoclimate estimates. But tortoises, being less mobile and cold-blooded, means that they can actually help us estimate what some of the minimum temperatures were at the site. So in addition to more than 30 species of animals, there were also more than 30 species of plants. We find things like tiny little seeds, bits of grass, as well as beautiful leaves that are not all that different from plants that we see in the area today. And it's these plants that really help us understand what the world was like at Miocene, during the Miocene of Minium Quarry. So like I said, it is a late Miocene site. It is located outside of Moreland, Kansas in Graham County. So it's about 8 or 9 million years old, and by that point, at the end of the Miocene, we have already seen the spread of grasslands across the continental interior of North America. And we can tell that by looking at the fossils from this locality. We have abundant plant fossils. We have abundant grass fossils, meaning that there were widespread grasslands. But we also have what are called emergent aquatics. An emergent aquatic plant is one that is rooted below the water and the leaves are above the water. So if you think of, say, a water lily, that's an example of an emergent aquatic. Those are present at the site as well as trees. So that means that this was what's called a fluvial environment, so there was probably a river, stream, creek, some sort of body of water flowing through the environment. So you'll get those emergent aquatics there, as well as the trees. So if you spent any time in Kansas, you'll know that though a lot of the landscape is open grassland, where you have creeks or rivers or streams, you'll often have what's called a gallery forest. So those are trees that are basically only found along the side of the water because trees are thirsty and they need that water to survive. So by looking at things like this, we can actually get a really good idea of what sort of environment there was in this part of Kansas at that point of time. It was a little bit warmer than it is today, but a lot of the, at least plant material, is pretty much the same as what you would see. The animals, you got a little bit of both. The smaller things, like the birds and the amphibians and the reptiles, the small mammals, are basically what you would expect to see today. But the larger animals, the larger mammals, are not what you would expect to see in Kansas today. There are no rhinos. The horses have been reintroduced. There are no bone-crushing dogs or nimravids in Kansas today. So this is a really interesting combination of things that are very familiar and things that are very not. So this could be a good chance for our time traveling. If we want to go there, I think this is a good place to start. So thank you very much for joining me as we time travel to Minium Quarry in the late Miocene. I hope you'll join us again. Thanks.
Thanks for joining us in A New Way to Museum with the Sternberg Museum of Natural History. If you enjoyed this video, like it and subscribe to our channel. Hit the bell for notifications when we release a new video. Support us on Patreon for early access and exclusive content. You can also follow us on all our social media. Links are found in the description. Thanks for watching, and follow your curiosity to new discoveries.